6 bizarre things that fell from the sky caught on camera, leaving the world stunned. Have you ever looked up at the sky and wondered whether the next thing to fall would be nothing more than an ordinary rainstorm, or something far beyond imagination? Throughout history, people have witnessed bizarre events so strange they seem like scenes straight out of a science fiction movie. In some places, hundreds of birds have suddenly fallen from the sky within just a few seconds. In another, a rainstorm of meat fell from a clear, sunny sky. Massive red rings have flashed across the upper atmosphere before disappearing so quickly that almost no one had time to notice them. And there have even been glowing spirals that convinced thousands of people all at once that aliens had arrived. What makes these events even more remarkable is that most of them were captured on camera or witnessed firsthand by large numbers of people. Yet even today, not every one of these phenomena has been fully explained. In some cases, scientists have found reasonable explanations, but others continue to raise countless questions, leaving researchers investigating and debating them to this day. If one day you looked up and saw a gigantic ring suspended in the sky or watched mysterious objects suddenly falling right before your eyes, would you believe it was a natural phenomenon, a rare accident, or something even more mysterious? Today, join Discovery Fact as we explore the 6 strangest and most unbelievable phenomena ever to fall from the sky and find out whether the shocking footage behind these events reveals scientific truth or mysteries that humanity still cannot fully explain. Now, let's get started. Giant red ring appeared over Italy for just a few milliseconds. Among the countless strange phenomena ever witnessed in the sky, few are as astonishing as the giant red ring of light that appeared over Italy in late March. It lasted only a few milliseconds, yet that brief moment was enough to capture the attention of scientists and astronomy enthusiasts around the world. On March 27th, nature photographer Walter Bonotto was observing the sky from the town of Pisano in northern Italy when he unexpectedly captured an image of a massive glowing red ring. At first glance, many people assumed the ring was hovering directly above the town. In reality, however, that wasn't the case. According to experts, the illusion was simply a matter of perspective. The glowing ring had actually formed hundreds of miles away, high above central Italy and the Adriatic Sea. What made this phenomenon truly extraordinary was its incredible size. Scientists estimated the ring measured about 224 miles in diameter, so enormous that if viewed from space, it would have looked like a gigantic halo stretching across an entire region. When the image first surfaced, many people speculated that it might be a mysterious portal or even a sign of something supernatural. However, scientists quickly identified it as an extremely rare atmospheric phenomenon known as an ELV. An ELV occurs when an exceptionally powerful lightning strike generates an electromagnetic pulse that shoots upward into Earth's ionosphere at an altitude of approximately 50 to 400 miles. As the energized electrons collide with nitrogen atoms in the upper atmosphere, they excite those atoms, causing them to emit a brilliant red glow that forms a massive circular ring before disappearing almost instantly. What's especially fascinating is that an ELV exists for such an incredibly short time that the human eye cannot observe it clearly. For many years, scientists have studied these events primarily using high-speed cameras mounted on satellites or spacecraft. That's why the photograph captured by Walter Bonotto from the ground has been praised by many experts as one of the clearest images of an ELV ever recorded. And perhaps this is the greatest reminder of all. Even in the familiar sky above us every single day, nature continues to hide breathtaking spectacles that, if a camera hadn't captured them at exactly the right moment, few people would ever believe had existed. The giant blue spiral that made Europe think a UFO had appeared. If the ELVE over Italy lasted only a split second, the next phenomenon remained visible long enough for thousands of people across Europe to look up, pull out their phones, and ask the very same question. What on earth is that? As darkness fell across Europe on March 25th, a giant glowing blue spiral suddenly appeared in the night sky. People from the United Kingdom, Poland, Hungary, and Croatia all reported seeing the mysterious sight at nearly the same time. Within minutes, photos and videos flooded social media, quickly turning the phenomenon into a major topic of discussion. At first glance, the spiral looked remarkably like a glowing portal opening in the sky, Its center shone with a bright white light, while perfectly curved blue bands spiraled outward around it, creating an almost flawless corkscrew pattern. The spectacle was breathtakingly beautiful, but also strange enough to leave many people feeling uneasy. Many social media users speculated that it might be a UFO, an unusually visible spiral galaxy, or even evidence that something beyond Earth was taking place. One eyewitness in the United Kingdom said he initially thought it was simply the moon hidden behind clouds. But when the glowing shape began to rotate and expand, he immediately realized he was witnessing something he had never seen before. As expected, wild theories spread at lightning speed. However, once astronomers began analyzing the available data, the explanation turned out to be very different from what many had imagined. According to experts, the mysterious spiral was actually the result of a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket launched from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida, United States. The mission, known as NROL-69, was carried out for the U.S. National Reconnaissance Office. About 4 hours after liftoff, the rocket's upper stage began its return sequence and vented its remaining fuel into space. At an altitude of hundreds of miles above Earth, the leftover fuel instantly froze into countless tiny ice crystals. As those crystals reflected sunlight that was still reaching the upper atmosphere, they created a massive glowing blue spiral. At the same time, the upper stage's rotation caused the expanding cloud of frozen fuel to spread into an almost perfectly symmetrical spiral, producing the spectacular display witnessed by thousands of people. Astronomers commonly refer to this phenomenon as a SpaceX spiral. Although it has been observed before, it remains relatively rare over Europe because it depends on several factors, including the rocket's flight path, the launch timing, and lighting conditions in the upper atmosphere. Renowned physicist Brian Cox quickly offered an explanation to reassure the public, confirming that the event was completely consistent with known science and had nothing to do with UFOs or evidence of extraterrestrial life. Even so, there's something fascinating to think about. Just a few decades ago, if people had witnessed a spectacle like this, many would likely have considered it a supernatural event. Today, however, advances in spaceflight are creating entirely new sky phenomena. Displays so stunning that even those who understand the science behind them can't help but be amazed. And as the number of rocket launches around the world continues to increase, scientists believe glowing spirals like these may become a much more common sight in the years ahead. Black smoke ring, hovering in the sky, the mysterious phenomenon that made an entire neighborhood look up. After witnessing massive glowing rings appearing high in the atmosphere and a luminous spiral that led people across Europe to mistake it for a UFO, the next strange phenomenon occurred much closer to the ground, yet it was precisely that proximity that made it even more unsettling for those who saw it. This time, under a clear blue sky, a giant black smoke ring suddenly appeared, hovering directly above residents as if someone had suspended an enormous ring in midair. The incident was captured in a neighborhood in Nakhon Pathom Province, Thailand. In the video, which quickly spread across social media, residents can be seen staring skyward as they watched an almost perfectly circular black ring. What made the sight so unusual was that, unlike ordinary smoke, it did not quickly dissipate. Instead, it maintained its shape remarkably well for several minutes while slowly drifting higher into the sky. From a distance, the ring looked as though it had been formed from a massive rope of smoke bent into a perfect circle. Wisps of smoke continuously drifted outward from its edges, making the phenomenon appear even more mysterious. Many people on the ground could do nothing but watch in silence, trying to figure out what extraordinary event might be unfolding overhead. Once the video was posted online, it quickly captured the attention of people around the world. Countless theories surfaced within a short period. Some believed it was an extremely rare natural phenomenon, while others immediately associated it with stories of unidentified flying objects. There were even humorous comments suggesting that the smoke ring looked like a portal that had suddenly opened in the sky. Experts, however, offered a far more practical explanation. Among them was Ajarn Jesida Denduang Borafin, a lecturer in the Faculty of Science at Chulalongkorn University, who explained that similar phenomena have been documented in several other countries and are not related to swarms of flying insects, as some people had speculated. According to him, the black ring was most likely created by an explosion that produced a powerful burst of pressurized gas. As the hot gases were expelled at high speed, they could curl into a circular smoke vortex known as a vortex ring. Thanks to its unique spinning motion, the smoke ring can maintain its shape for a period of time before gradually dispersing into the surrounding air. The professor also emphasized that the source of the smoke should be carefully investigated. If the ring originated from machinery or the normal combustion of fuel, it would eventually dissipate on its own and pose little concern. However, if it resulted from the burning of industrial chemicals, the phenomenon could be associated with environmental and public health risks. Interestingly, this was not the first time mysterious smoke rings like this had been reported. Several months earlier, residents of Moscow, Russia, also recorded footage of a similar smoke ring hovering above city buildings, leaving many people equally puzzled. Even so, local authorities never issued an official statement explaining the incident. To this day, black smoke rings remain among the rarest atmospheric phenomena ever witnessed. Although science has provided a reasonable explanation, the sense of awe they inspire has hardly diminished. After all, it's not every day that you get the chance to look up and see a giant smoke ring silently floating across the sky right before your eyes, is it? The mysterious meat shower in America, a phenomenon that has sparked debate for nearly 150 years. My friends, if mysterious glowing rings and black smoke rings can still be explained by atmospheric physics, then the next story left both scientists and ordinary people completely baffled. This time, what fell from the sky wasn't rain, snow, or hail, it was actual pieces of meat. The incident occurred at around 11 a.m. on March 3, 1876 in Bath County, Kentucky, USA. That morning, the sky was perfectly clear, with no signs of rain or storms. Mrs. Allen Crouch was relaxing on her front porch when she suddenly heard a series of light thumping sounds coming from her yard. At first, she assumed only a few small objects had fallen, but within seconds, the sounds became more frequent. When she stepped outside to investigate, she was stunned to discover countless reddish pieces of material continuously falling from the sky, splattering across her property. The strange pieces averaged about 2 by 2 inches in size, while some were even larger than an adult's hand. They were soft, wet, and looked remarkably similar to fresh meat. Over the course of nearly 10 minutes, the bizarre shower covered an area measuring approximately 330 by 165 feet. The meat became caught on fences, landed on rooftops, scattered across walkways, and blanketed the front lawn. What puzzled everyone the most was that when they looked up, they saw absolutely nothing unusual. There were no large flocks of birds, no whirlwinds, and no dark clouds that could explain the bizarre event that had just unfolded. News of the incident quickly spread throughout the region. More and more neighbors gathered, eager to witness the unprecedented meat shower for themselves. Interestingly, everyone seemed to have a different opinion about the mysterious material covering the ground. Many believed it was beef because of its color and smell. A local hunter argued that its texture more closely resembled bear meat. In an attempt to identify it, a few men even tasted samples of the meat. After examining and comparing them, they concluded that the flavor was more similar to venison or lamb. However, a local butcher dismissed all of those conclusions, insisting that it did not resemble any type of meat he had ever encountered. Because the event was so extraordinary, local authorities collected numerous samples and sent them to laboratories and universities for analysis. This marked the beginning of a scientific debate that would continue for generations. Some early researchers suspected that the material was not animal flesh at all, but nostoc, a type of cyanobacteria that can swell into a gelatinous mass when exposed to water and sometimes resembles animal tissue in appearance. However, that theory quickly ran into problems because there had been no rain on the day of the incident. Furthermore, laboratory analyses of multiple samples revealed the presence of muscle tissue, lung tissue, and cartilage, features that are inconsistent with cyanobacteria. Over the following years, many additional theories were proposed. Among them, the explanation that many modern scientists consider the most plausible suggests that a flock of vultures or other scavenging birds had gorged themselves after feeding on an animal carcass. If startled or forced to take off quickly, these birds are known to regurgitate recently consumed food to reduce their weight. If an entire flock happened to fly over the same location, the regurgitated meat could have fallen almost simultaneously, creating the illusion of a meat shower falling from the sky. Even so, this theory still fails to explain every detail of the event, such as the distribution pattern of the samples or why no witnesses reported seeing a flock of birds overhead at the time. For that reason, the Kentucky meat shower remains one of the strangest and most famous unexplained events in American history. Nearly a century and a half later, the true origin of the mysterious pieces of meat has yet to receive an explanation that everyone agrees upon. So what do you think really happened? Let us know your theory in the comments below. Mysterious metal spheres falling from the sky in India. Just imagine this: on an ordinary morning, people step outside their homes only to discover a giant metal sphere lying in the middle of a field or beside a road. There are no signs of a major impact, no one knows where it came from, and there's no immediate explanation. If it happened to you, what would be the first thing that came to mind? This isn't a fictional story. In recent years, India has recorded several incidents just like this. It began when residents in Maharashtra discovered a mysterious metal sphere resting on the ground. Not long afterwards, similar objects were found in Gujarat, prompting local authorities to secure the areas and launch official investigations. The spheres had smooth metallic surfaces, were almost perfectly round, and appeared under highly mysterious circumstances. With no clear information about their origin, many people quickly came up with extraordinary theories. Some jokingly compared them to the giant Dragon Balls from the Dragon Ball series, while others seriously suggested they might be alien probes sent to Earth. As photos of the mysterious spheres spread across social media, public curiosity only grew stronger. Many people asked the same question: if these weren't man-made objects, then where did they come from? To determine the truth, experts from the Physical Research Laboratory, PRL, a government-supported research institute in India, quickly began investigating. After conducting an initial examination, they stated that there was no evidence linking the spheres to extraterrestrial life. According to their preliminary findings, the objects were most likely components of rockets or spacecraft that had re-entered Earth's atmosphere after completing their missions. In fact, this was far from an isolated case. Earlier, in northern Namibia, residents discovered a metal sphere measuring about 14 inches in diameter and weighing nearly 13 pounds in a remote area. When it was first found, the object immediately sparked a wave of speculation. Some worried that it was evidence Earth was being monitored, while others even claimed it could be a sign of an alien invasion. However, after a thorough analysis, experts determined that the object was simply a hydrazine tank, a fuel container commonly used in rockets and spacecraft. Once a rocket stage completes its mission, certain components that survive the intense heat of atmospheric re-entry can fall back to Earth, often landing in sparsely populated areas. These incidents remind us that not every mysterious object falling from the sky has a supernatural explanation. As space technology continues to advance, more satellites and rockets are being launched into orbit than ever before. As a result, discarded equipment and fragments of spacecraft can eventually return to Earth in ways most people would never expect. Even so, whenever a strange metal sphere suddenly appears, it's only natural for the public's curiosity to take over. After all, until an official explanation is released, human imagination often races ahead of science. Fortunately, in every documented case, authorities quickly recovered and examined the objects. They also warned the public not to touch or attempt to move any unidentified objects they may encounter. Besides potentially being aerospace hardware, such objects could still contain residual fuel or hazardous chemicals, posing a serious safety risk. Giant ring of fire lights up the sky, a breathtaking astronomical phenomenon. After a series of bizarre phenomena such as the mysterious meat shower and strange swirling rings appearing in the sky, the final event on today's list brings a completely different feeling. Instead of confusion or debates over its origin, it inspires pure awe. One of the most spectacular displays nature has ever given humanity. On February 26, 2017, hundreds of millions of people across the southern hemisphere had the opportunity to witness a rare astronomical event known as an annular solar eclipse, more dramatically referred to as the Ring of Fire. Unlike a total solar eclipse, in which the moon completely blocks the sun, an annular solar eclipse occurs when the moon is farther away from Earth in its orbit. As a result, the moon appears slightly smaller than the sun and cannot fully cover the sun's disk. Instead, a brilliant ring of sunlight remains visible around the moon, creating the breathtaking appearance of a gigantic ring of fire burning across the sky. It was a sight that was both majestic and surreal. As the eclipse reached its maximum phase, the sky gradually darkened as though dusk had arrived in the middle of the day. The air temperature dropped slightly, the surrounding light took on an eerie dim glow, and high above, a brilliant golden-orange ring blazed across the sky, an unforgettable sight for anyone lucky enough to witness it. That day's journey of the Ring of Fire began over Chile, swept across Argentina, continued over the South Atlantic Ocean, and finally ended in southern Africa between Zambia and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. According to estimates, nearly 500 million people around the world witnessed this extraordinary astronomical event either in person or through broadcasts and online coverage. Many observers described the moment as if the sky had opened to reveal a gigantic glowing portal. Astronomers, however, emphasize that this is an entirely natural phenomenon that can be predicted with remarkable precision years in advance by calculating the orbital movements of the Earth and the Moon. Although science has thoroughly explained how solar eclipses occur, viewing one still requires caution. Experts warn that you should never look directly at the sun with the naked eye, even when most of it is covered by the moon. The sun's intense visible light and ultraviolet radiation can still cause permanent damage to the retina. For that reason, observers should always use certified solar viewing glasses or other approved solar observation equipment. Interestingly, throughout history, the Ring of Fire was regarded by many ancient civilizations as a mysterious omen. Some believed it was a sign from the gods, while others thought a monstrous creature was swallowing the sun. It wasn't until the rise of modern science that humanity came to understand the true cause behind this magnificent spectacle. The nearly perfect alignment of three celestial bodies: the sun, the moon, and the earth. Perhaps nature's greatest wonders aren't always the mysteries that remain unsolved. Sometimes, even after we fully understand the science behind them, their beauty is still powerful enough to make millions of people pause, look up at the sky, and stand in silent amazement for a few unforgettable moments. And that brings us to the end of our journey exploring 6 of the strangest and most unbelievable phenomena ever witnessed in the sky. Some of these events have been explained quite clearly by science, while others continue to spark debate to this day. But together, they remind us that the skies above us are still filled with countless wonders waiting to be discovered. So, which phenomenon fascinated you the most? Was it the controversial Kentucky meat shower, the mysterious rings and vortices that appeared in the sky? Or the breathtaking Ring of Fire that captivated millions around the world? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Discovery Fact always loves hearing your unique perspectives and theories. If you enjoy videos exploring strange phenomena, natural mysteries, and incredible true stories from around the world, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Discovery Fact, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next adventure. For now, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.